I found myself really intrigued and fascinated and enjoying myself listening to a book that was written for younger children. And then I found out there was a movie.
Welcome to Little by Little Homeschool Podcast, where you'll learn tips and strategies that will empower you to home educate your children. I'm Leigh Nguyen, a homeschool mom of over 12 years, which includes 2 graduates. When I started homeschooling, I was pretty much on my own and was desperate for encouragement and help. My mission is to be a source of encouragement and help to you. Whether you are just beginning your homeschool journey or you're deep into the homeschool lifestyle, Little by Little Homeschool wants to help you stay the course, because all the time you are investing into your children is completely worth it. If you're ready to take your homeschool to new levels, keep listening.
Over the years of sharing about our homeschooling journey, I get asked often for lists and specific curriculum names and titles, and sometimes even entire plans for what to do with your exact child at that exact age. And maybe I will share more of the curriculum that we have used throughout the years in some coming episodes. If you would like to hear more about that, then just let me know. But today, let's just start off with a book list. Some books that my kids and I have really enjoyed over the years. These can be great for some summer reading if you are looking to have your kids do a little bit more reading, or if you want to do some read alouds. But this is not a list that you have to do just over the summer. These are just some books that you can maybe do now, or you can write them down and you can include them in your homeschool year. And like I mentioned, these could be read alouds. Now, there is one or two that I'm going to probably suggest as a read aloud, and instead of having your kid read it to themselves, and I'll explain why when we get to that. But I am going to share from, 4 different categories, and I have a top 4 for the 4 different categories. You should do read alouds though, and if you can, continue them into the summer as well. I have done a couple of episodes talking about read alouds, and I will link them in the show notes just so that you can get some more information as to why this is important, and maybe you just need like a little bit of a push to include it. Maybe it's something that you have not been doing during the school year, and the summer is a great time to see how it works when hopefully maybe you have a little bit more free time and you can just be a little bit more relaxed about it and see that you really enjoy it and your kids really enjoy it, and then be able to figure out how to include it in your homeschool year when you guys get back to everything starting with the next homeschool year. I hadn't realized when we started homeschooling how much reading was going to affect my kids and how important it was going to be to them. So let's rewind a little bit. My daughter goes to kindergarten. She starts to learn how to read and really wants to read. And it started to trigger in my mind the fact that I loved reading. I had a rocky start with learning how to read and was in, I guess you would maybe say, the remedial levels of reading in early elementary school. But once it clicked, and I just wanted to continue reading. But we didn't have a lot of access like we do now to books. And we lived out in the country. The library wasn't very close. And so I would get books from the library at school, and I think you'd get like one out at a time and then finish that and get one more book out when you would have library day again. And so I really wanted to read a bit more. And then when my kids started to read, and my daughter, she just absolutely loved reading, I was like, oh, wow, we really need to foster this. And then as school became a bit more intense, the long days. I mean, in kindergarten, they did a half-day kindergarten program, and then come first grade, it was all day in second grade. And then there was homework. We ended up bringing her home then by third grade year, and she had so much more time to be able to read and explore books. And then same with my boys as well. So it's been a fun journey, and I think at this point, pretty much everybody knows that reading is a good thing. So I'm going to share with you now, I have 4 different categories. And I'm going to share just a couple of books, 4 specific books in each of those categories. So if you want to go ahead and pause this, grab a piece of paper and a pen so you can write them down, I'd encourage you to do so. This book list, along with a longer book list, is actually included in your homeschool blueprint. So if you are a part of your homeschool blueprint, make sure you go ahead and check out that download that you can print out and have that list for yourself. If you are not in your homeschool blueprint, this is something that is included in that. You can get more information about it at littlebylittlehomeschool.com/blueprint. And as I get into this book list, when it comes to anything sharing specifics, I hesitate sometimes. What my goals are for my homeschool is not the same And the things that are important to me aren't the same as you. And the things that maybe I say no to are things that maybe you say yes to. So I have tried to create a book list that doesn't have anything maybe crazily divisive in it. But again, this is you, your family, your children, your homeschool, and you have to decide. Just like I hope that you are discretionary and intentional when it comes to maybe family movie night and the different media that your kids consume. The movies that you guys might watch together, they might watch on their own. Hopefully you are taking the time to research those. I hope that you do the same thing for books that they read on their own and for read alouds as well. It can get harder as kids become voracious readers. If you have any of those in your home, you know that it's hard to be able to keep up. So there are definitely some different resources out there that you can look up and do some research and decide for yourself if you want to include these books or not. You can use things like Plugged In. I don't know if it's just pluggedin.com or plugged in online. I don't know. You should just kind of Google it. It pops up. They probably have an app as well. There's Common Sense Media. You can go to Goodreads. There is Sarah Mackenzie has her Read Aloud Revival. I know that Jamie Erickson has I think it's Bibliophiles. So those are some really great resources that you can go to and find out, get a summary, look at it, look at maybe some of the pros and the cons, and decide for you and each of your individual children if it's a good choice to read the book or not. Let's start off the list with 4 books that I want to encourage you to read for yourself when it comes to homeschooling. These are specific to homeschool moms. They aren't something that is just for anybody. If you're thinking about homeschooling, I would encourage you to read these. Now, again, 4 categories, 4 books. I could probably list about 20 books, and I actually do list about 20 books on the actual list that is in your homeschool blueprint. But I just wanted to bring this down, just a quick little episode. So my 4 books I'm going to mention to you that are 4 favorites for you, the homeschool mom. The first is Modern Miss Mason by Leigh Bowden. Then we have The Call of a Wild and Free by Ainsley Arment. We have Teaching from Rest from Sarah Mackenzie. And The 4-Hour School Day by Dorinda Wilson. Again, there is a long list of a lot of different books, but if you have a little bit of time this summer, I would encourage you to either take one of these books out from the library or go ahead and purchase it online so it pops into your mailbox and you're able to read it. If you can read a couple of them this summer, that would be really good to kind of help get you into the frame of mind so that you can continue with your homeschool vision. You can continue with the goals or to set goals that you have for the summer, or maybe even revolutionize or reinvent or reinvigorate your homeschool for the next homeschool year. The summer is a great time to read books, and I highly recommend any of the 4 of these or all 4. The next 3 categories are books for your kids. These, again, can be books that they read on their own, or they could be books that you do as read-alouds. So I'm going to break it down into the early elementary age range first. Now, these different age ranges we have, I have early elementary, late elementary, middle, and high school. Obviously, the early elementary is going to be very different than the high school books, but it doesn't mean that older kids, if you have older kids and younger kids mixed in together, that they won't enjoy the younger books. Just use your discretion when it comes to the older books for younger children. So early elementary range, I am going to recommend to you the book entitled Rascal by Sterling North. Then we have In Grandma's Attic by Arleta Richardson. This is an older book, but it was a favorite of mine growing up. And you're going to notice from this list, for all of the different age ranges I have, not the necessarily homeschool mom books, those are all going to be a bit newer, but you're going to notice that these books are all ones that have been around for a little bit. I don't have ones that listed on here that came out in the past year or 2. I'm sure there are some great books, but remember, my kids are a little bit older. But these, I feel like, are tried and true books, and you can't really go wrong. So we have In Grandma's Attic by Arleta Richardson. Really cute. It's actually a series. Number 3 is The House at Pooh Corner by is it Milne, M-I-L-N-E. So then we have The Trumpet of the Swan by E.B. White. This book, The Trumpet of the Swan, was our introduction to actually doing read-alouds. And we listened to it on audiobook because we had a lot of running around to do that very first year of our homeschooling. We just had a lot of commitments to things. And so we listened to it, and I found myself really intrigued and fascinated and enjoying myself listening to a book that was written for younger children. And then I found out there was a movie. So those are always fun when you can find out there's a movie for something. Next age range is the late elementary age range, and I am going to suggest to you these 4 books. Johnny Tremaine by Esther Hoskins Forbes, My Side of the Mountain by Jean Craighead George, Because of Winn-Dixie by Kate DiCamillo, and The Secret School by Avi, which is spelled A-V-I. Now, how about the middle school age range? I'm going to recommend to you Little Britches by Ralph Moody. Now, this one's going to come, just picture there's a little asterisk for this one. I'm going to recommend this one as a read aloud. Now, younger children, younger than middle school age, would be fine to listen to this one. But I'm going to recommend you read it aloud to them because there is a couple of instances of what we would now say would be a curse word. It isn't anything that's extremely profane. It just fits, though, with the time period and with what was going on. And so when you do this as a read aloud, you can see that word very easily coming. I think it might only happen, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4 times max in the book. And so you'll see it coming along, and you can simply just skip over that word, and the book will make still perfect sense, and your child they will none the wiser. But still, Little Britches is worth it for those couple of words just to skip over. Such a great book. How about Cheaper by the Dozen by Frank B. I can't really read my writing right here. Gilbreth, I think. I should have written a little bit nicer. But Cheaper by the Dozen. Just write that down. We're talking about the old book, not necessarily any of the new movies. And the old movie is fun to watch afterwards, after you read the book. How about The Year That Money Grew on Trees by Aaron Hawkins? And then Indian Captive by Lois Lenski. And we're going to close out here with giving 4 books for the high school age range of kids. And that would be The Hiding Place by Corrie ten Boom, Animal Farm by George Orwell, All Creatures Great and Small by James Herriot, and To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. So there you have it. There's my list of books for you and for your kids, maybe to grab a couple of those for them to read on their own, for you to read on your own, or to do as read-alouds. As I mentioned earlier, this, along with the vision and the goals and setting up your homeschool, is all included in your homeschool blueprint. It's going to give you the foundation that you need. Maybe this is going into your very first year of homeschool, or maybe you've been doing it for a year or 2 or a couple. Or possibly you've been doing it for quite a while and you're saying, we have gotten off course, or you just kind of started because that's just what you decided that you and your husband are going to do, but you really didn't have any direction and you'd like to go back a little bit and lay that foundation. So your homeschool blueprint is going to help you to lay that foundation. No matter where you are in your homeschool journey, there is something for everybody to learn so that you can then go into next homeschool year just feeling like you've got a solid plan. Because my goal is for you to have an awesome next homeschool year. And the summer is a great time to work on that. So you can get more details at littlebylittlehomeschool.com/blueprint. And let me know if you read any of these books and how much you guys enjoy them.
Thank you for listening, friend. I'd love to connect with you more. You can find social media links in the show notes and share this episode with a friend who could use a boost to her homeschool. See you back here real soon.